So it looks like we don't have anybody from the public here, which is normal.
Yeah.
So have you let her in on the process at this point?
No, I just told her that asked her if she'd worked with us before, and she said she did get a signed permit earlier, but it didn't go through us. She said maybe it was before it was assembled, and I told her it was probably because the sign was in compliance with all the guidelines. That that Jack would kick it to us if it was.
Was this downtown?
What's that?
Was this downtown somewhere or out in the out and around?
I don't know, but that was her past experience. That was previously, so it's
Yeah,
so
it
it
was
doesn't have to be
Lowell
safe.
Yeah,
We
it was
can't-
out
we
of
can't undo
downtown
it.
area.
Well, I mean, it's they've broken it up into Greenwood, Melrose Line, downtown. Jeff says I had to get my wife's prescription.
Oh.
So he's out getting her drugs, not needles, just drugs.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, actually, you know what Holly had said too was that it was a repair. It was a signage repair. It wasn't a new sign.
Well, even repairs though end up going through us basically to give her okay, because Jack, I had to convince him basically the repair process, as long as it was an exacting copy, it stipulates that you can do it basically at this point. This business is, I went online, is it clothing?
Fixed. So my understanding is it's a therapy studio. So they're going to be doing like cupping, dry needling, stretch therapy. So similar to like a therapist.
I have no idea what that is.
I know, me neither. I'm learning myself. So yeah, she does a lot of I believe so. There's two owners, Elise and Ariel. I believe Ariel is the one that has all the licensing to do all the therapies. And I do know that Elise has Sweat Fix. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's also in Wakefield. That's her other company that she owns.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
yeah, that's down
a rowing studio.
it's down the side street there on, I know where it is because they went through us for signage there too.
Yeah, I actually did the signage at Sweat Fix on Lowell Street. That was with my old company.
Uh-huh,
But like I said, that was just a new light box face
yeah.
put
The,
in the existing.
I looked up the company name, and it came up with a double F as opposed to a single F. And it's interesting, it's a Korean clothing operation. Everything's exactly the same except a double F to start with.
And well, hers has two X's. It's FIXXED.
Yeah, and it had two X's,
Yeah.
Really?
Huh,
but it has,
I'm surprised.
at the start of it, if you get a chance, it's very weird.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
Well, it's all
Maybe-
Korean or Chinese or,
Maybe it's something like that holistic message place in Greenwood.
this was, I looked at this, there were two websites for this. One of them was a little less video in it, basically. And the other one was more video basically in it. And it was all these Oriental type people, basically, young people, basically, and fashion type of thing, basically. And I'll tell you that it was this pouty sort of look to them, every one of them, male and female, basically. And they were, in their, I guess in their teens, 18 or something like that.
Wow. Okay.
But it's, yeah, I figured, well, I'll find out what the heck this company is. And that's why.
Yeah.
But then I said, well, I don't think this is it.
Yeah, I think it's fixstudios.com. That might be why you didn't find it. And I know it's her first. This is their first location.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how far along they've gotten with the social media presence. I do have her business license, I think, with me.
All right. So I'm not gonna wait for Jeff. He'll come when he comes. So let me pull up, if I can do this properly. So All right, that's an example. I don't want that one.
Jim, is this something that you sent us in an email?
Yes, a while back.
Oh, okay.
She had filed all this application stuff and then sent me the images which are coming. So of course, this is the doorway for the place, which is now moved down to the south side of town, basically, which is, forget what the name is. My wife's always shopping at this place. So this is the existing photograph, basically, of what's there. And this is the sign. It's with this, and this sign is 16 by 48, which is under the 15 square feet allowed. So we have, as far as the code's concerned, we shouldn't have any issue with this. And this is basically aluminum with black molding and then cutouts, vinyl cutouts on that. So there's no freestanding letters or anything like that. And this ends up right over the door. Yeah. What I don't have on this is the dimension from here to there and from here to there. It's supposed to be, this sign is not to be any more than 2/3 of that overall band. And it's, if this is correct dimensionally, basically, it looks like it meets that criteria. But without having a full dimension across this whole thing, I don't know what it is.
Are you looking at the linear footage from left to right of the storefront?
Are you seeing what I put up on the screen?
No, it didn't
No,
come up
I'm
on the
not.
screen.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can share. Oh, Jeff has woken up. All right, now can you see it?
No.
Yeah. Says I've disabled something here. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Any luck? Anything on the screen?
No.
Nope.
I don't see it.
Just.
Sorry.
Can't seem to get it up. Ah. Nice, Jeff.
Nobody said anything.
Still
We're on
nothing.
TV, right?
Huh?
We're on TV, right?
Yeah, you're on recording.
Yeah, okay. Then I have no further comment.
Jim, are you the host or is Gail?
No, Gail's not here. I'm supposedly the host.
So
Are you looking at this picture? Does that help?
Wait a minute, let me,
Glasses.
yeah, that's what I'm looking, oh, that's what I was showing first off.
So you wondering what the width is from here all the way over?
Well, what happens is with a sign, where the sign is basically, can you show where the one with the sign in it?
Yeah.
Who came into this, who came into the video first?
Me.
You? Then
Yeah.
you might have the share. You might have, because you got in here ahead of me, you might have.
Oh, no, I was just there. It said if you're the leader or whatever, sign in or whatever. And so I didn't sign in. And then after a while, it just automatically kicked me in.
That happened to me with Gail too. And
See, I'm on my iPad, so I'm not sure what I can.
look down at the bottom and see, there's a share screen, basically. Click it.
Oh,
See-
yeah, I do have a share screen.
That's all of us though.
Yeah, I have that too.
Can you click it and see if you can bring me in or denote me?
It says only the host can share in this meeting.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be you.
I've got a special number, but it's not working for me. All right, so go ahead with that, Holly. So my point being is that this is supposed to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, but we don't have a dimension across the whole length of it.
okay. So the whole storefront width from here to here, I have as 151 inches wide.
And the
Sign itself is 48.
48, right? Something like that.
That, yeah, it's about exactly 1/3. A little bit less than 1/3 actually.
Okay, I didn't think there'd be any problem with that. The problem becomes, and let's go to the other signs. There's two other signs. One is in the window and one is in the doorway.
So this has this on it as well, but I don't know if you can see it that well in here, but there is door lettering here.
Right in
And
the,
there's also window lettering here.
yep. And
Um,
the thing is, it's only supposed to be 10% of the glass area.
So, I don't know if you can see it. This is glass, this is glass, this is glass. This is all glass as well. And there's more glass all here
Yep,
and in here.
yep.
So I have, for glass, let me see. I have
No,
it
the
right here.
problem is it's 10% of any individual pane. It's not 10% of the whole area.
Oh, okay, I was not aware of that.
If you look at the permit, it in fact states that, basically, when you noted, basically, I can probably have it here.
Lettering. All right.
Jim, would we consider the individual muntins to describe, like, if you had a 3/5 window, you're saying it would read to me like 10% of each individual pane, which I think would be ridiculous in practice. Would we not just take 10% of the window and ignore the muntins that divide it up?
In the future, yes. At the current, no, can't. Except if you go to the ZBA and ask for a special permit.
Yeah. We don't
Well,
have-
I don't, if you hold up that image again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see the window that's on as the left portion that's 3 panes high, that's 3
Yep.
lights high, right?
Yep,
So it could be 10% of, in my interpretation, would be 10% of that, not 10% of each of the 3
Yeah.
of one of the panes. So
it says, and this is in the permit, all right, not in the code, but it is in the code as well. You are not permitted to cover more than 10% of any window.
right.
Yeah.
So what's a window? I'm asking,
I know, and I don't,
Mm.
there's another way around this in my mind, and that is you shrink the sign a bit and you put part of it in one window and part of it in the next window. Now, the other thing would be is to take, to do a strip, that said fixed studio, and it's at the bottom window, and it trails right across the front window and down the corridor windows on the inside, basically. And if you make that small enough to be within the 10%, then it's like a little graphic piece, like a ticker tape, basically.
Yeah.
On the lower window.
Okay. So if
Um,
we split up pretty much, I'll just show up with actual images. I guess it's easier that way. Like, so this is what was proposed on one window. So you're saying pretty much if I maybe took the top window, just did fixed, the second window below it, did just this, and the third one below it, do that, but also
No,
shrink
no.
it down so it's 10% of the window.
I mean, you could get away with that as long as each one is 10% of the area. I'm saying, I'm taking a little bit further and saying, take fixed and turn it into a ticker tape that's on every window, all the way, wrapping its way around into the entry
Okay.
at the bottom of the window. I'm not sure what I understand that the cupping and the dry needling, is that like acupuncture?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's what I got out of it when I was asking her to explain it to me, because I've never heard of it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my understanding is they put the needle in the muscle and they
Yeah.
move it around. It's supposed to loosen the muscle and give more circulation.
And so this is not, in a way, this is not something that you'd want necessarily the public to view. So you walk in, you're in a waiting space, and then you're taken on as a single patient, basically, client. And this activity happens sort of behind another screen or something.
Correct.
So, I mean, unlike a restaurant where you might want to look in and see, how busy it is or not, this is not that type of place.
Oh, yeah, like massage or physical therapy,
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could spread it out amongst some windows,
Okay.
but not in one window.
All right.
But
So then I guess
can I
the
just ask again, Jim?
Yeah.
When she held up that elevation on the left.
Yeah.
is it one window, or are you saying that's three windows on that surface?
I'm saying that if she could break it up into three.
No, I got you. But just for my own understanding, can you hold up the photograph of the building again?
Sure.
So you've got on the left, the only part forget the angled part going back to the door.
Yeah.
I see, forget all that. Where you're proposing the window sign. Are
Yeah.
you saying that that's three windows as opposed to one window with three lights in it?
No, I'm saying that each one's an individual window and each one has a portion of that sign in it.
No, I get what you're proposing to do. I'm asking, forget anything being proposed.
Yeah.
I need to understand what a window is, because over Bob's shoulder, we have one double hung window. If you look in Bob's got one double hung window,
That's right.
got 8 top lights. So if I wanted to put a 10% sign on that window, do I take 10% of each light at the top? Or do I say that window is 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide?
And actually to
A
Jeff's
window.
point, it's the whole thing.
That's a window with
It's
2
the
sashes
move.
Well, I
divided
think
up into lights.
that I'm going to get up from my desk here. I'm going to go get the code and I'm going to look under definitions and see what it says.
I have the.
Like, if I throw a rock through that, how many, it's, well,
No, you're right.
I think it's less cluttered than coming in and putting a sticker in every single individual light of a window. I'd rather say, take the aggregate glass area on that surface, call that a window, and give you 10% of it. Right now, it's a third of it, but.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that each third, if you took 10% of each third, that would be so tiny.
Right.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't even be worth doing.
Measured it and you
I
said
have
the
a
whole
feeling
thing
she
is
threw it
3
out.
feet by 8 feet, right?
Yeah.
And then took 10% of that. Right now, I think what you're proposing looks to be a 33%, because you're filling in one entire, right?
Yeah, I misunderstood. I thought it was 10% of the overall windows.
Right.
So taking the square footage of all the windows, 10% of that is what I interpreted, but I obviously misinterpreted it. Because you do have 9,
Is it-
9,
Windows,
18, and 6. You have 24 windows, but I'm only putting one graphic in one window
right.
out of
But
the
see, I think
24
I think windows are defined by the mullions or the frame.
frame.
And if they decided to renovate that and take that surface and turn it into an old timey window with 6 across and 8 high, they don't have 48 windows. They've got one window broken into 48 individual lights. And so
Yeah, and on that same note, they could just turn it into one piece of glass too.
right, exactly. If they
Yeah,
wanted
take
to
the
run
sim.
the other- a door with divided lights isn't 3 doors. It's one door with 3 panes of glass. I mean, if it came down to that and the definition was wrong, I think I'd be inclined to, personally, I would be inclined to say to the ZBA that the spirit of it, you
Yeah,
know,
the
let's
intent,
look at
sure.
the intent of it, not the letter of it. So,
I mean, my assumption was that it was 10% mostly for safety reasons. I'm assuming this law is in place so that, if there's a fire, responders can see through the glass and there's not a bunch of graphics in your view.
right.
So that's why I thought just doing one of the 24 windows was reasonable,
Right.
because you have all the other 23 windows you can look through.
It's more about, making just trashing the window basically, or the windows is what it's all about. So you don't have all this crap on it, is why they did it. And they went out and looked at other sort of New England towns and found out what their regulations are and stuff like that. And it says
But I think the tendency would be to, some stores would want to fill the entire thing with signage.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why
Convenience
it's limited
stores
to-
especially.
Right.
Now,
Right.
just a quick question for my own sanity. If it's not permanently affixed to the window, such as like a printed piece of paper with a suction cup, is that still call for a permit?
within 3 feet.
Okay.
If
So
it's
you-
within
fall
3
into
feet of
that
the
graphic.
glass.
Right.
Yeah,
You
if
couldn't
3
put
feet-
a,
I can't put it actually on the glass. It has to be back, kind of like hanging from the ceiling or on a stand or something.
right,
Okay.
because otherwise you just, not you, a person would.
Person can cover the whole
pick
window.
Sign they could and hang it 6 inches back, and so
Exactly. Understandable. All right. So then the question is for me is the door. Because I know she'd be willing to, I think she'd be willing to work with us and move it, like you said, smaller or just disperse it amongst many windows instead. I don't think she'll have an issue with that.
What Jim is proposing is something we've seen a few times, like it's hard to describe, but if you think of a case where, like, in a building, you've seen a lot of glass that you might walk into. Sometimes they put a logo
Oh,
at
yeah.
that level that just repeats. So we've seen people take that 10% and apply it along the bottom that just had their company name over and over and over. It wasn't for the same reason, but I'm kind of referencing that example just for a mental picture. It's,
Yeah.
simple,
Like
but-
hazard dots so people don't walk into it.
yeah, in this case, you'd be using it as a nice graphic, either at the bottom of the window, or you could do it at eye level or something.
Yeah.
Not for the
No, I know
sake.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because we can switch the layout. I mean, we can easily do fixed, like you said, just the bottom 10% of one window and then have it say cupping on one, dry needling on another, and just use 10% of the window. It's doable.
Did I send you in the last number of weeks, send you an example of what we're looking for a typical submission? There were-
Well, you sent me the application.
It was like a before and after type of photograph with a submission somebody else made or I made up at the time, which gives all the dimensional information and everything else that we're looking for. And in that particular case, there was a banding basically on the window at the bottom of
Yeah.
the window. And or I think it was up, well, I don't know, it was up a foot or so. So it just became a banding basically. There's no definition of window, only window signage. and it says window signs shall be allowed only on windows located at the ground floor and second floor of a primary building facade. Um, Window areas shall not occupy more than 10% of the window area of any one window. All window signs, temporary or permanently, shall count towards the allowed aggregate sign area. No exterior illumination of window signs is permitted. But it brings up Jeff's point, I think, is that maybe in the rewriting of this, we need to clarify something like this.
Yeah.
Because it isn't clarified. And I don't think anybody was thinking when they wrote this necessarily.
I think they probably assumed it was just a big sheet of glass or something.
Yeah, a big display window type of thing, as opposed to
And I think
something like this.
I'll go on the record by saying if you wanted to propose the same thing that you just showed us, but size to be 10%, I would suggest, look, I would be in favor of those 3 stacked lights being taken as the total area for that window and taking 10% of that,
Okay.
right? Not,
Yeah,
not
I'd
10%
agree. I'd
off,
agree with that too.
not like 10% in one and 10% on another and 10% on another. I think it would look pretty distracting.
Yeah,
So a single sign size to 10% of that, each of those surfaces that might be described as a window.
interesting.
You look at the one that angles back and it's got even more lights.
Yep,
I would call that surface one window, but divide it up into a number of lights. L-I-T-E, that's not.
I guess I can accept that.
Those are the muntins. They're not.
Because
Yeah, right.
it leaves us a skew basically, because there's nothing clearly indicates what a window is. Us as architects would absolutely say the window is the whole. If it was like Bob's house behind him, the window is the up and down sash basically. That's the window.
Yeah.
So it leaves us a little bit out in left field.
Well, I also think too, is what do you wind up? Does the signage area become objectionable when you do it that way? I don't think so. I mean, I think, if you consider mullions and mountains all together and it's, one window rather than 3 stacked or whatever.
Well, I think if you have 3 windows stacked and you put a piece of this sign in each one of the windows, then it's sort of going against the grain of what the intent was, I think, which was
Yeah.
sort of, keep as many windows sort of free of debris.
Yeah.
Type of stuff.
Yeah, reduce the clutter and what, yeah.
Yeah, make it look so overwhelming.
Yep, yep. So I guess, yeah, I can buy that. That leaves us with the door to the business basically. And what is the area that you propose there versus the area of glass? Since that's one sheet of glass.
The glass on the door itself is 30 inches wide by 84 inches high. So that is 7 times 2.5. It's about 15 square feet. And I have 3 square feet. So it's a fifth. So this is to scale. I don't know if you can see it that well. The gray box is the actual glass.
Right.
So it's 30 inches wide by 84 inches tall.
Yeah.
And the graphic itself is only 16 3/8 high by 24 inches wide. So that's about a fifth of the area.
But that's not 10%.
Correct.
So there's no argument we can make for this because of mullions, basically, for this one.
Yeah, there's no argument there. So we need 10%. Let me figure out what that's got to be so I can reduce the size of this.
Basically half the area, right?
All right, so we need 10%. So on this door, that would be. $10.5. It's 10.5 square feet. I can only do 1.5 square feet of vinyl. I have. 2.6. So I need to reduce it pretty much in half.
There you go, Jeff.
All right, so we need to reduce this to,
Can I see that elevation of the door glass again when you get a minute?
sure. You mean from like the bottom of the glass to
No,
the
no, no,
bottom?
no. I just wanted to see what it was that you were using for signage. Because I think there's a phone number in there. I don't think the phone number is allowed. Is that Jim?
The board, the ZBA hasn't been allowing it.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, and
That'll get
that
rid of
wasn't what I was,
boring.
I was getting at. What I was thinking was that aside from just reducing it by 50%, you might want to just eliminate some of the stuff that's in there.
Yeah, it
No.
depends
yeah,
on,
absolutely.
depends on your point of highlighting. What do you want to highlight? You know?
I think she'd be okay with that. I can confirm with her, but I think she'd be okay with just maybe having the logo and fixstudios.com, get rid of the phone number, get rid of the Facebook, Instagram stuff.
Mhm.
And then she also had a little tagline saying, all you need is 20 minutes to thrive. So she could probably get rid of that. I think the most important is obviously the name and then the website. So if I can confirm with her that she's okay with reducing it to that, then that would bring me to 8 inches high, wide. So that's. That would bring me under the 1.5 square feet. That'd bring me to 1.3. So do I have to resubmit that change?
I think if we, yes and no. And when I say yes or no, I don't think they resubmit it to us. Since we were all sort of in agreement that the glass will be reduced to 10% on the doorway, and that there'll be one sign basically that is in the panels at the front.
Yep.
And using the 3 panels as the 10% area. And whatever you have to do to make sure it's within that 10% area, because it's probably more like a third of it right now, but whatever. And you submit it to me. I'll pass it on to these guys and we'll talk. But I think what happened is, and what my next step is normally would be, I write a memo to the building department saying, we've had this meeting, we've approved the following, and usually I will attach images basically that you have given me, attached it basically for record. And you have filed basically a permit with them, which you'll have to change the permit because of some dimensional stuff that has to change now. And then you'll easily be able to get down there and get your permit.
Okay, now if I already paid a fee on the permit, would that still be applied to the new permit?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I assumed it doesn't get actually processed until the permit's issued, so.
Right, and I just need images basically I can attach to my memo as to what we discussed, and that you're in compliance in our minds at this point.
Okay, so as long as I reduce that window image down to 10% of the overall for those 3 windows and remove some stuff off the door to make it in compliance with that 10%, then we should be okay.
It should be.
Okay,
Just send it to me so that I can run the numbers. I'll send it to these guys. They can look at it basically. And if we're all in concurrence, I'll just let you know that we've sent something down to the building department. So,
okay,
and I think they're on holiday this week. What's today? Tuesday? I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you probably won't get much reaction from them until the first of the year.
all right. So what I'll do is in the new proofs, I will give you the dimensions of those 3 windows, so you can do your calculations.
Yeah.
And same with the door.
Yeah.
All right, that's easy enough.
Even put some dimensions on the wall sign as well.
Yep.
The width of the building, the rest of it basically. I'll send you if I didn't send you the samples, basically, I'll send you a copy of that so you can see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But you got 99% of it anyway,
Yeah, it's fair.
okay?
Sounds good. I know it's tricky with all those windows.
Yeah, it is. It is basically with a sort of, it's sort of like New England, you know, it's all these little panes of glass.
Yeah, yeah. The
Okay.
little niche places.
Yep, yep,
All right, terrific. So I'll get all that paperwork going. I'm just gonna confront, obviously the owner to make sure she's okay with the changes, which I don't think she will have any problem, because if she
Yeah.
wants signage, that's what it's gonna be.
yep, yep. Okay,
Now,
Terrific.
one thing I just was thinking about is that when you reduce the door signage to 10% of the glass, you know, to half of the size it is now, if you can include that slogan thing with the logo and still keep it under 10%, you can do that. You know,
Okay,
that-
yes.
And that is, from what I saw, that doesn't occur anyplace else. So it might be, you know,
Something she wants to keep.
yeah. Yeah.
Correct. All right, so I can give her that option as well, as long as it'll just, I'll let her know if she wants all the information still on there, then it's obviously gonna be significantly smaller, not as legible as if
Yeah.
she maybe removes items. So I'll
And
give
I
her
think,
both.
and I think, Jim, I'm not, right now, I'm not clear, but I thought web addresses and phone numbers weren't being allowed.
in anything that we've run through the ZBA,
Yeah.
that's true, all right? In the future, basically, it won't be true. It'll be relegated to the upper panel of the doorway. And all those other little stickers that you get, you know, like for Bank America and all the rest of those aren't gonna show up. In fact, they won't even allow in the future advertisements for some event in Linfield. They'll allow businesses in Wakefield to have an advertisement for something, some event in town, but they don't want to encourage it for other towns, nor have all that junk sitting on the window as well. So it's going to be, we're going to have in this, when we get this, which probably is 2 years away, we'll have much more authority basically to make decisions than we have now. And ZBA is going to be stepping out of the picture unless a participant basically doesn't like a decision, then they can always take it upstairs to the ZBA. Other than that, it's totally in our control, which is good.
Mhm.
All right.
Terrific.
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
get those over to you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
You-
Have a good rest of your week. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So you, Bob, you and Jeff, I got an email from some person that wants to do a box sign. Yeah, I've sent it back to them along with different sections basically, but they're doing like diodes inside a box sign down in Greenwood is what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I've sent information back to them, so I expect to get some feedback on that. I also have, I might have said this already. I went down, took photographs of all the overlay district, and I've come up with about 11 or 12 non-permitted signs. A lot of them are on Albion Street, but there are others elsewhere. There are also some that had gone through zoning board basically to allow for a little flexibility, like Honeydew in Greenwood, basically, who just plasters the whole building with their crap. So I'm talking with Ben, the building inspector, to see what we might do. He comes from Revere, and they actually had a single page document, basically, they dropped off with these business owners, basically, that said, you haven't pulled a permit, you're not in compliance, you're gonna have to pull a permit, and you're gonna have to go through the process or something like that. And that will be the first step. And then after that, I suppose Ben will have to basically do something to get them to change at this point. Now, the interesting thing is, while I was walking around, was actually to see how many businesses that have signs or out of business signs or space for rent. There were quite a few, basically, which probably is to be expected given the circumstance right now in any town. So So there's those that we want to watch because eventually someone's going to fill those spaces. It may be 6 months or 12 months from now, but someone's going to come along and fill those spaces. So I have a very long list of different circumstances that exist out there. And Ben, unlike Jack, I think is a little more willing to deal with this. Jack was too busy between Linfield and Wakefield, and only once in a while, basically, would go out and do something to straighten some of these people out. So anyway,
Do we know, are any of them instances where they may have gone to the building inspector and been told, there's no problem, just,
now I don't think there was a period of time, and that's why these ones are more recent, right? Because I went back and looked at my previous photographs to find out when the sign showed up. And there are some in 2019. There's a bunch of them in 2020. But you have a good question in this. Town Hall was closed for at least 2 months. So if you want to put a sign up, basically, you couldn't even get to Town Hall to pull a permit. So some of these people, may have wanted to pull a permit, they can't. So, this is the opportunity for them to straighten that out through a notice from the building department that you've got to pull a permit and go through the process. So, that's the way it is. So we want to deal with this gingerly given circumstance. It's a holiday time, at holidays, it's COVID, we're still going to be in this mess. I don't want to be the Gestapo basically out there. But at the same time, we can't allow it to get just a free for all out there as well. There's a guy down by you, a pizza and Italian restaurant, basically.
SIBO.
Huh?
SIBO on Main Street
It's on Main Street, Greenwood.
by the post office.
It's, no, it's 1117. It's right next to the Catholic Church there on the right. He's got a flag. He's got one of those feather flags. He's changed the sign on a pole. He's got 2 signs because he's got 2 doors. He figures he can have 2 signs. Was at one time, I guess it was subdivided. And now he's put 2 signs up. And the thing is, what really irks me is I talked to him and his signage guy a year ago as to what they had to do. And they just went and did whatever they damn well please. So.
are they in the signage overlay district?
Yes. There's a,
I didn't think it was into Greenwood, because I'd love to have it be in Greenwood,
well, it is.
I remember it being in Greenwood. I just didn't remember the extent.
Yeah, it is in Greenwood. I can send you a map that shows what the numbers are, where they are. It jumps around because it gets 117, 1117. It gets the Brinks place, basically the stores that are across the street from that. The restaurant down there is part of this.
Yeah.
And then from there, it jumps to Greenwood intersection up there at Green Street. And then it jumps also down the street to the hair salon place, the Billy's Roast Beef, and those places down that way, basically up right to the border. So, and that's another thing we talked about when we were looking at modifying the code, was basically to expand this to other areas, basically expand it out. I guess when they put this through, they thought that that if they did too much, it would die on the vine, basically. So they limited how much area they covered. But we've run, like the ZBA has been running and dealing with Tuttle Street several times at this point because the business is over there. And so we'd like to get Tuttle Street and some of the other streets that basically along the tracks be part of this, so we can control that area as well. But anyways, yeah, it's got a fairly wide area, but there are a lot of corners, like 4 corners up my way here. There's no control over those. It's all under the old code. It's not under the current code. So anyway.
Be any commercial property, shouldn't it?
Should be, but it's hard enough now to, with the just the spaces that we are controlling, basically. Can't imagine controlling all the rest of it, basically, really. I mean, you do need a signage police basically out there walking around.
Well,
And-
it'd be great if it were just part of the process of somebody getting a business permit or something, that they got a packet of information that said, if you're doing any changes, you need a building, building permit. If you're doing a sign, you need a sign. Because I'm just amazed people don't seem to even think they just move in and start doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this guy that's down by the Catholic Church, it was a grocery store, convenience grocery store, and the awning was all ripped and everything else. He went in, he took the awning down. He wanted to put the awning back up with his name on it, like it was Revere Beach or something. And I told him he couldn't do that. Since it was a grocery store, I don't know what gas facilities they had in there basically. And I strongly suspect they brought all their appliances for cooking stuff and like without a permit.
No, they used to sell pizza when that was a convenience store,
Oh, really? Okay.
and
Yeah.
cook on premises. They had a little deli, sandwiches, stuff like that.
Yeah.
My son used to go down there and hang with his buddies.
Yeah. He at this point's got 2 signs. He's got all sorts of stuff on the windows. When you drive by it the next time, just take a peek.
Yeah,
Well, it's bizarre, basically.
it's tough because we've had a few people go in there. Rooster Tie was one of them. It'd be good to have somebody get in there and have it stick and occupy the space longer term. But,
Yeah.
So you feel bad saying, welcome to the neighborhood. Your place looks like hell.
Yeah.
Take
Well,
it-
it's all about announcing themselves. They don't think about the outward appearance, basically. They think just as the more signs are better. And to me, the more signs just clutters, and you just drive right by them like you don't even see them after a while. You need something that it really catches your eye. And in most cases, it doesn't catch your eye, basically. You just drive by, it's just clutter, period.
We need to get you like a cowboy hat, couple pearl handled
Well, no, maybe
revolvers and a badge, signage badge.
maybe I can get Dick Baird to help me out.
Yeah, there you go. Get one of the
He's got a constable badge and he's got a gun and the hat. And if necessary,
horse.
he's got his feathered headdress, basically.
Address.
Oh, boy.
You got to be careful about wearing those these days.
Yeah. You look like a turkey.
No, I
Anyway.
wasn't thinking of that. The political correctness police would be
Yeah.
out for us.
Well, I know he'd help me out if I asked him to.
Well, I was just
Right.
thinking you needed a badge for enforcement of signage police, like Columbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are some people that I think would be absolutely dangerous in some of these instances, when you came down on them. And I think that's why Jack avoided it. Plus, also, I think a lot of these were Jack's friends,
Mm. Yeah, well, you don't know what kind of deals he
No.
finagled on them.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
Not that he would do that, but we're saying he could have, maybe there was a,
I looked at it more as for him anyways, is that he's so busy dealing with the public safety that signage is like the lowest priority at all for him.
is he still working in Linfield?
No, the guy that was down there was going to take and fill for Jack. Has gone over there basically, and he's running Linfield. He was supposed to get some additional licenses and take some courses and stuff like that. He just
Yeah.
didn't do it. So they basically shipped him. They split the deal, basically shipped him over to Linfield. So Linfield now is not controlled by or has any members of our building department over there basically anymore. So he takes care of that. It's pretty good because it's just small houses and that. Well, in Linfield, nothing small, but anyway.
You get to pay your electric bill?
Yeah. So
Lights just went on.
that's No, I don't know what that is. Anyway, yeah, so he's, and Jack is, I think Jack's still around a little bit because he's supposed to be watching over some of the bigger projects. And Ben has got some additional licenses he has to get too, but I think he's on those basically at this point. Nice guy if you haven't met him, very nice.
So Jack could still be involved in the public safety building in the new high school?
He's not a town, if he's still got residents in this town, I suppose he could. You know, has he sold his house yet or not? I don't know.
Yeah, well, was he? Yeah, he was on Farm Street, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
somebody had moved in there,
Well, okay, so,
and it doesn't say Roberto on the mailbox anymore.
so I think he's probably got more of a consultant position now,
Oh,
where,
okay.
where Benny needs some help on something or, and there's some deals that were made with, on Foundry Street, basically with the contractor and the developer, basically, particularly on the old mill, basically, as to how they were gonna do certain things and build a fire rating around the extension of that thing. So I think he wanted to stay involved in that, not leave the town at loose ends. So I wouldn't be surprised if he still works as a consultant when they need him at this point. All right, guys. This is the end of our little show on 391 Main Street signage. And I want you all to have a happy new year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
And
And you guys the same?
yeah, well, we will, but we'll be a house of two. Kids are all
Moved out.
smart.
Wow.
Yep.
You'll be spending your days down at the Dutton Center from now on?
Nah, I don't think so. The question is how long I stay in Linfield before they ship me off to some place like Brooksby or something.
Okay.
You know, the thing is, if you went to Brooksby with the COVID cases and the like, you know, it's probably not a good place to be. You're better off in your own house
Yeah.
than to be in a place like that.
Oh.
Anyway, all right, guys. We'll
Right.
see.
Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Yep. Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye.